The executive, I mean, it was so ironic. The executive director of the Canadian Continence Foundation was a guest on my show here in Ottawa when I was doing daytime. And I met her in the green room, and in passing, I went, "Hey, by the way, I suffer from incontinence." She was like, "What?"
Hi, welcome to Sharing with Susan B, telling stories from the heart. We're looking to inspire, telling stories of struggle, vulnerability, and lessons learned. Hi, welcome. I'm Susan Blaine. I'm here with my good buddy, Derick Fage. Here we are again.
Here we are again together. I love it.
I'm so glad that you're participating in this series with me.
I'm honored to be a part of it.
Derick Fage, he's a media personality and a TEDx speaker. He's also the ambassador for the Canadian Continence Foundation. You grew up in Ottawa. Your first job was delivering flyers door to door. Worked at McDonald's. I've had many guests work at McDonald's.
It's a great start.
I hear that. 7-Eleven cashier, Kentucky Fried Chicken cook.
Oh, that was exciting times.
Do you still eat Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Not often, I'll tell you.
No. After high school, receptionist administration at GGFL, which is an accounting firm here in Ottawa, which your father is part of.
Yeah, he was a senior partner there for 49 years, my dad.
And you worked there for 18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were actor in a number of movies. You did a few local television commercials as well. You were an actor with Big Time Murder Productions. It's a murder mystery dinner theater company here in Ottawa. That must have been fun.
It was great.
You've done a lot of voiceover artists for video games. You were the host for Daytime Ottawa on Rogers for 11 years. You were associate producer first, and then you became producer.
Yeah.
And you were the dining out reporter for Ottawa Living on Rogers TV. And then you made a leap, and we're going to talk about that. You made a leap to a different city, and you were host and associate producer for the breakfast television show in Montreal.
That's right.
For 4 years. You've done some amazing volunteer work, because in 2012 you received the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal for all your contributions and to various charities and not-for-profit organizations. So congratulations.
Yeah, it was a great honor.
Presently, you're a member of the board of directors and the ambassador for the Canadian Continence Association. So tell us about this and what you're really passionate about right now.
Oh, right now is really just sharing my story. You know, I had that chance. You mentioned TEDx speaker. I had the chance to do a TEDx talk. I applied when I was working in Montreal, and that kind of opened doors. But what I'm passionate about now is sharing my story, inspiring others, motivating others to share their own stories, to share, you know, their challenges with their friends, their family, their colleagues. If I had one regret, it's that I waited so long to go public and share my personal story. You know, the more people that know and understand the challenge that you're going through, the more people that are available to support you through that. Living with incontinence, you know, if I'm here and you know it, and I have you know, an episode, I'm not so embarrassed and ashamed to say, "Susan, can we stop for a moment? Because I have to go to the washroom." When everybody within your circle knows about that, you'd be really shocked of how much support you'll get out of that, and the embarrassment and the shame goes away very quickly. And that's not to say that I haven't had, even in my adult years, you know, people making fun of me and, you know, behind my back and, you know, discussing it. That's, you know, less than 5% of the people I've ever met will do that. The 95% and above will support you. Like, I'm grateful that I had a medical condition such as fecal incontinence, because it allowed me to better understand other people's challenges and have empathy and understanding and being a caring person and having a human connection because of it.
Yeah. You know, you've been an extraordinary professional in the media and media personality, but that's not without its struggle. To actually leave Ottawa, all your roots, all your contacts, all your friends, family, and go to Montreal.
Yeah, that was, I mean, career-wise, an easy decision. Personally, a difficult decision. So it wasn't one of those opportunities, well, okay, kids, and you know, we're all moving to Montreal.
Start a new life. But you did Monday to Friday, and then you were home on the weekends.
Then I would travel back after the show on Friday, spend the weekend with my family and what I still consider my community here in Ottawa. I still, you know, did a lot of hosting and did some charity work. I wanted to continue that, no matter, you know, where I was going to find my career, my next job opportunity. And then I'd leave Sunday at 5:30, and a lot of the times Monica and I would be in tears.
And you did that for 4 years, and I know we talked about that the political landscape was quite different.
Yeah, you go to a brand new city and you have to work extremely hard, and I take a lot of pride in the fact that I worked long hours, in particular in those first 2 years, because you know, the municipal politics there is very different than here. Yeah. It's a party system, where here it's not a party system. Quebec politics is very different than the rest of the country. Learn about the Anglo community in particular, because that's what our show was speaking to. That was a challenge. That took a lot of hard work, and it's not work that I didn't enjoy. I loved it.
So let's talk about personal struggle.
Yeah, so I was born with what's called a high imperfect anus. So I was born without the anal opening, so they had to create it at birth, which was a pretty major surgery, you know, especially going back 50 years ago, right? A lot of things have changed in the medical field as far as that's concerned. I was also born without a sphincter muscle, which unfortunately would make me incontinent for the rest of my life. So I've had to sort of manage myself, and it had, you know, the personal struggles were, when I got into elementary school, you know, kids would eventually find out, because you would have these, you know, I would have these accidents that were very difficult to hide. You know, I had constant bowel movements, so I had the key to the staff washroom. So of course, you know, why are you going to the staff washroom and not, you know, the washroom with the rest of us? Because I had to keep, you know, my diapers there. I wore diapers till the age of 13. So that was very difficult to hide. Gym class and that kind of thing. So kids started realizing I was different. I started realizing I was different. Sure. I didn't know that until I hit elementary school, and then the bullying started to become relentless. I didn't want to go to school.
No, I bet not.
I made every excuse in the book. Along with it's funny, when people are born with this imperforate anus, one of the other challenges they have is their gut. And for some reason, there's a major sensitivity that goes along with this. So there are many foods that...
I mean, gut health?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There are many foods that I probably shouldn't have been eating, you know, but I already...
Trial and error.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and, you know, I was stubborn. You know, if my brother and my sisters were having ice cream, well, I wanted ice cream. Sure. If they were eating Halloween candy, and I would suffer the consequences, and my parents would let me suffer the consequences. You know, it's kind of like, well, okay, we've told you. You're on.
This is what happens.
This is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Because you've been very open and honest about that, and of course it's led you to be a representative and the ambassador for the Canadian Incontinence Association. And you've traveled.
Yes, I have. It's been a wonderful experience. When the executive, I mean, it was so ironic. The executive director of the Canadian Continence Foundation was a guest on my show here in Ottawa when I was doing daytime, and I met her in the green room. And in passing, I went, "Hey, by the way, I suffer from incontinence." She was like, "What? You're a public figure doing a live television show. This is crazy." Yeah. So I opened up to her, and she asked me if I would share it on the show that day, live on the show. I did, and then I shared it on social media. And then she called me 2 days later and said, "Hey, listen, we've been looking for a public figure to be the ambassador, someone that would be willing to share their story so that we can speak to other people out there that are unfortunately living in isolation and living in shame." And I accepted on the spot, and it's been great. I've become a member of the board of directors. You'd be surprised. I had people tell me, like, reach out to me after I went public and said, "I haven't told my family doctor or my spouse, and I've been suffering and living with urinary incontinence for years." One lady said she hadn't left the house in 28 years except to go to medical appointments and to get groceries.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and that's heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking. Lessons learned from your struggles?
That I kind of realize that it's a superpower.
I love that.
It really is, because it's shaped who I've become. And I think it's made me, you know, a better husband, a better father, a better friend, a better host, any number of things. So yeah, I'm really fortunate.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Not advice. You know what I would say? I would actually say to him, you know, you overcame a great deal. you know? And I always had this struggle of sort of having a dual personality because I had an abundance of energy and I loved people, but I wanted to consistently isolate myself from people.
Yeah.
So I turned into the school class clown, right? And I always wanted to get attention and hoping I would get attention so that I would be popular or be accepted, right? But at the same time, I also wanted to distance myself from everybody. Maybe the best advice I would give myself as a young person is to put less distance between yourself and others.
So what's next for Derick Fage?
I'm excited, actually.
Yes, you should be.
I mean, people are like, oh my God, you lost your job. And I'm like, yes, difficult news, incredibly difficult news. I've been desperately trying to write a couple of books. I'm writing a children's book, and I'm sort of writing a book about my life that people have encouraged me to do for years and years.
Oh, no doubt.
And, you know, my wife and my daughter is great. Whenever I talk to my daughter, she's like, have you written anything today? What have you written? How much have you written today?
Me accountable.
Yeah, she has been.
Good.
So I think I will take this time to finish writing those two books. I would like to continue on the speaker circuit. I think I have a compelling, unique story to share. And I think it's a great story because it's just sharing my vulnerability and being authentic and honest about sharing it. I think it'll open you up to connect better with humans, to have more meaningful conversations with people in your life, you know.
And we all struggle. When we have the courage is a muscle.
I love that.
When we have the courage to share, there's something magical that happens. And it opens people up.
And just the connection is so beautiful.
It is.
You know, I've had strangers come up after speaking engagements and give me a hug and, you know, just they whisper in your ear, you know, thank you so much for sharing your story. I could have allowed it to psychologically defeat me. You know, like I shit myself on live television on a few occasions, right? But you know what I do? I go, I clean up, and I come back after the break and off I go. You know, you continue on.
Literally have turned your mess into a message.
Yeah. God, that is good. I
That's
like
not
that.
mine, but
oh, really? Damn, I was gonna say.
You could give
I'm gonna
me credit
steal that. Yeah, I'll throw it out at you.
Let's do some rapid fire
Okay.
questions. Have some fun.
All right.
Some things that you might not know, although you've learned a lot about Derick. Who's your favorite superhero?
Spider-Man. I love the Peter Parker. He's kind of a geeky. I think he sort of feels a little bit isolated too in his life, and then this kind of empowers him to be himself a little more.
Favorite food indulgence?
Lobster. Easy. Love lobster.
Someone you admire?
My father.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right up there with Spider-Man. Yeah,
awesome.
he really is. He's gone through a lot. My dad's gone through a couple of strokes, and most incredibly motivated person to get better I've ever met in my life. He's amazing.
Something not too many people know about you.
Huge NFL football fan, and hockey fan as well. It's so funny. This is the irony. I'm in a rebuild, right?
Yes.
Every sports team that I cheer for, okay, the Miami Dolphins, the Ottawa Senators, most likely the Toronto Raptors after losing Kawhi Leonard. All of these teams are in full rebuild mode. I don't know what it is. And the Red Blacks will be too, right? Every team I'm passionate about completely stinks and has to rebuild.
How about favorite movie, book, or quote?
Favorite movie, Goodfellas. Love that genre of movie and film. Book would be Life of Pi.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it. I mean, I could read that book over again. Favorite quote is, people may not remember what you did or what you said. They will remember how you make them feel.
I love that
Favorite quote.
I'm going to do a high five in a minute, but I love giving you a high five for that. What's something that always makes you smile?
My cottage.
Yeah.
We get onto the dirt road on the way to my cottage, and just sitting there beside Monica, there's a sense of and a smile just comes over both of our faces.
What's your definition of success, Derick, in one sentence?
I don't measure success on my career. I measure success on the impact I've had on people.
And there's a lot more to come. It's exciting.
Thanks.
Let's connect with Derick because we want to follow what he's doing next. Facebook, you can follow Derick Fage. Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, and we can check out and follow your next great chapter.
I'm looking forward to it. We're calling this Chapter 5, Monica
Chapter
and I.
5,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.